Welcome to part 3 of our look at Air Raiders, the 1987 Hasbro line that only lasted that year. We're talking about a few things today. We're going to start off with these little Battle Dasher numbers. I've got 3 of the 4 boxes here, and of course they all have the same key art on the back with a little factoid blurb about the figures involved and the vehicles themselves, but we'll get to that all in a later video. Now we'll just take a quick look at these. See the sides have a depiction of the play function in use. You can see there the tips of the air puffers are all white. So some of the photographs taken for these boxes were from earlier versions, prototype versions. You see that a lot in Air Raiders. Some things that weren't quite kicked off all the way. See, this one has the gray tip. Put a little missile underneath that box to keep it straight. It's because it's got a little bit of a curb, but that's my only Windseeker box, so that's what we're taking a look at. Get your little air puffer there, and then each of these smaller vehicles come with 2 missiles and 2 figures. Both of them are the generic regular figures. This Windseeker itself does have a broken port where you put the puffer in, but it does have the best stickers, so that's why we're looking at this one. I have a number of these, I think 5 of them at this point, and this is the best looking one besides the fact that it's missing, well, it's got a crack in the tailpipe, so to speak. But we have this little pod that comes off, and it can scoot around and do its thing. It's a little bit rough on the bottom, so that when you set it down, it can't really, stay upright unless you really do some finagling there. And who's got that time? They even detailed a little bit of the cavity left behind, so that's pretty cool. Sucked to put a figure in there, and then that thing goes back to land. Guns on the bottom, of course, are directional. The driver sits pretty well to the front, and the pod snaps securely into the back, has a rotating turret. There's a couple pieces involved in that, but it's a nice little design. It's a 6-wheel vehicle with 3 axles. A lot of times you'll see these wheel sets get bent. I've had to replace a few and install some stuff, straighten a couple out. But overall, the Windseeker is a pretty nice vehicle. I've got a number of them just because I'm trying to get enough vehicles to recreate the key art on the back. We'll see about that. So now we have our Wind Raiser. Probably the toughest vehicle in the line to get a hold of outside of the Man of War, fully intact. And the reason why is the wheels that come on there. But we'll take a look at the driver here in the cockpit. I've got a few of these, but this is one that has all the pieces and all the stickers looking right, and the struts for the legs are serviceable. So this one comes with black puffer, which is the most stylish looking above the bunch, and you kind of have to lift the puffer off the ground, or else there's too much friction put on the pipe. I'm sorry for the phrasing on this. We'll get a little demonstration here because it rolls really well. It's just a matter of being able to launch it properly. There we go. And you can see the demonstration of the missiles. This, I think, is the only one that I kind of went off without a hitch for me. Looking at the undercarriage there, you see the 2 legs will come down and lock into an upright position, probably so you can get over obstacles in the field. But you see the wheels have those black covers on them, and they're removable, of course, and then the wheels themselves are these neon yellowish green discs that easily get lost and are tough to find. You won't find very many of them like floating around on eBay or anything as just pieces. I tried to get some nylon washers to replicate them on the other Air Raiders that I have, but I can't quite get the size exactly right. So the hunt continues, but the Wind Raiser is a pretty nice little vehicle. Pick one up if you can, but they tend to run on the high side for Air Raiders. That is caveat there. Now we're gonna dig into this big old box. for the command Outpost. It's got quite a few things hidden inside there, so much so that I had to time-lapse this. So I've got all of my Thunderclaws and all of my Storm Daggers in there, as well as a command Outpost itself and a bag of figures. So here we're looking at the Thunderclaw. Missile fires as you'd think. Vehicle fires off the puffer as you would expect at this point. 2 figures in here, and the rear figure on most of these has a foot peg that you can attach into place there, but it takes a lot of finagling and better eyesight and lighting than I have available to me most of the time. But the claws have a retractable feature there. A lot of the times if you find a used one of these and you see it in pieces, the middle spring mechanism inside would be missing, and so the claws might not function. So that's something to check out. Also, all 4 of these small wheels on the bottom, I mean, it rolls really, really well, as long as all 4 of them are present. And sometimes, too, you'll see it without the guns on the side. That's because that's a single piece, and so they, take aim in unison, as it were. But I really like the claw on this. I mean, it's got a real scarab-type feel to it. And it seems perfect for desert environments. But it's one of the cooler little things. And of course, in the key art depiction, there are 15 of these little buggers, as an aside. And now here's the Storm Dagger. It has another really nice looking puffer to it. It's entirely dark red, which just really, really, ticks a lot of boxes aesthetics wise. And the Storm Dagger itself has this huge sail on top, which is all held up by a single spine there, and it's kind of a soft plastic, the same type as used for the main piece of the puffer. So it's supposed to be flexible, but it does have a tendency to snap, so be aware of that if you are trying to buy a used one of these for like $5. The stickers on this are intact, but the stickers on this vehicle are absolutely horrible. These are the worst ones in the entire line, especially because they have a white outline around them. I mean, just, come on, make it black. Maybe trim them a little bit better, except for the Air Raiders sticker there that you see at the rear of the vehicle. The rest of them are just pretty much heinous. So it actually looks better without stickers, for sure. But it does launch and roll pretty well. It's got 2 sets of wheels here, 4 wheels on 2 axles. And the pilot sits forward, the gunner sits facing the rear. It's got 2 missiles that launch off from the sides there. And the rear gun is a twin barrel, but it looks very strange. It almost looks like a lightning rail gun or something. I don't know what you'd call that. But saw a couple of loose pieces of those here and yon, and it just did not look like a gun out of context. So here's the key art, the lovely key art in its largest incarnation in this entire series, because the next box size bigger than this is for the Man o' War, and the Man o' War has kind of a G.I. Joe type box. So it's just your basic white and black printed out exterior, with a printed piece glued over top of that. So on the back, you don't get the key art. You only get the color illustration on the front and on one side, I think, or maybe 2 sides. So here is the command Outpost, and here is some of the other stuff that's in here. We got a accessory bag for all the Outpost material, and we have a figure bag with all of my extraneous figures, 2 of which are gonna pretty much have their own video coming up here in a little bit. So another little time lapse, me getting this set up, and of course not realizing I'm gonna have to attach the hoses underneath. So I went ahead and put the rocks in there, and it's got a lot of nice areas inside to stow figures and accessories, utilities, whatnot. But It also has foot pegs on the inside too, but it can be tough to get them to stay there. And you know, the older an Air Raiders figure gets, the more loose in the hips they get. So having them stand at attention is less than reliable. The switcher on the back here is pretty solid. It hasn't been used a lot, this one, but it does work decently well, the pump on this. I do have another Command Outpost, but that one has broken missile launchers and a couple other things need to be dialed in. Some stickers are missing, although I do have a pristine, brand new Command Outpost sticker set that I can apply to that if I so choose. But yeah, the missiles fire just fine on this. And I'm gonna have to check the seals, because you can see that we got the rock bed that wants to launch up a little bit and unseat the rocks, but with the weight of the rocks on it, it doesn't want to move. So I'll get to that in my free time. You've got the back area here, which is another section of this playset. So honestly, you could fit probably legitimately 20 figures inside at foot pegs, you know, all at stations. As well as a number of them on the outside here. It's just, you know, perfect as a playset, as a base of operations for your Air Raiders figures. Providing they, you know, are realizing that they're on duty and don't imbibe and fall over into a pit of rocks or whatever. These guys are out here having a good time. So yeah, this is definitely one that I didn't have as a kid, but is an amazing set. So if you have the means, go ahead and try and pick one up. They are cheaper than you would think for this Command Outpost here. And of course, everything can stow inside. Well, almost everything. I take the tubes and the launchers and stow them separately, but thank you for watching part 3. Part 4 will be coming soon, focusing on the Man-O-War. It's a big one. I don't even have any preview footage or anything, you know, cut to splice in here at the end, so take my word for it. It's probably one of the coolest vehicles ever created for a toy line in the history of toys in the world. Yeah, not over exaggerating that.